Do I need to do my introduction again? I'm excited to be here. I'm glad to see so many really familiar faces. Like my introduction said, I'm a person in long-term recovery, and what that means for me is that it's been 12 years since I've had any challenges with my mental health and or substance abuse disorder. I live my recovery out loud in the community. I work on the ground in the community doing work direct with people who have challenges with their mental health and or substance abuse. The work is very rewarding, but it is also very hard. And as CARES, as certified peer specialists, we do really good work. We work really hard to help people on their journey to recovery and wellness. And so I just want to thank you and tell you that I see you and appreciate you. And I know how difficult the work can be. Some of us are very, very happy in our work. Sometimes our work is not hard. It is what we have to do with the people that we work with. And so I just want to say that this developing emotional intelligence or sustaining means that I'm not assuming that you don't have emotional intelligence. What we are doing is just revisiting things you may already know, but you may have heard something for the very first time. I know for me, when I went to treatment was the beginning of my journey of really understanding my emotions, but I didn't really get to do a lot of that work while I was in treatment. It took me many years of just living to really understand that my emotions were taking me places I did not want to be. I really struggled. And so one of the things that I want to say to you is that if this is new information for you, welcome, and hopefully you'll hear some things that will resonate with you. I would suggest that you take notes. This webinar will be recorded and on my YouTube page after it is recorded, maybe a couple days after. I just want to let everyone know that I won't share the slides, but you can go and revisit this webinar on my YouTube page. My YouTube page is preventionwithintention.com. And for those of you who are not on your phones, I'm going to go ahead and share a QR code to my website, and you can scan that QR code, and I'll show it again at the end of the webinar, so that if you have any questions, any concerns that you want to talk about, you can scan my QR code, and at the bottom of that first page, you can schedule a 30-minute free consultation. Prevention with Intention is a professional development training and coaching company for certified peer specialists and CARES who are working in behavioral health. And ultimately, the goal for my company is to help you manage soft skills, develop soft skills, learn new soft skills, and use this in your work. The one thing that I know for a fact is that everyone has soft skills. Everyone has them. And most people have hard skills as well. We'll talk a little bit about that, but I want you to know that these are things you can learn. So there are things that we are innately born with. There are things that we are taught. There are things that we learn along the way. Some things are intentional and some things are not intentional. So with Prevention with Intention, the idea is to be very intentional about self-care in the workplace. You can use this information for your personal life and for your work life. So I just want to encourage you to know that self-care is not just about, we hear this all the time. It's not just about going to get your nails done or going to having a spa day. There are things that we have to do emotionally to take care of ourselves. And so we're going to go over a few of those things today and just kind of touch on some things. We won't do a deep dive. I will say that this training can be offered to any organization in a full day, half day, or 1 or 2 hour trainings. And it does come with manuals and materials that will be helpful to the workplace. So I just want to share that with you all. I am so happy to see everybody. And I'm going to move through this stuff. Yes.
I'm sorry, TaTa-Nisha.
Yes.
There are a few people that are saying they're having a hard time hearing. So I'm not sure if it's, technical issue with them or with us.
I could definitely add some more. How is that?
It's better for me.
It's better for you.
Yeah, are you guys able to hear? If you can just shake your head.
I'm hearing fine.
Okay,
Okay.
good, good, good,
I'm
good.
good. I can hear.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
So I usually turn my volume down because I talk really loud. So I'm not offending people's ears. So yes, so as we were saying, hopefully everyone can hear. We're going to start with a few poll questions. Let's start with the first two. I'd love to hear where you guys are. All right. What is emotional intelligence? And I know that some of you may be driving, you may be not available to answer the poll question, that's okay. But if you can answer the question, that would be great. Yes, yes, yes,
Number D,
yes.
all of the above.
All right. Good, good, good. Recognizing, understanding, and managing our own behaviors, emotions. For some reason, I can't see all of the question. Being aware of emotions that drive specific behaviors, absolutely. All right, so you guys get a sense of what emotional intelligence is. All right, let's go on to our next poll question. And so I can't see the whole question, but that's okay.
Are you not able to see it now?
I don't see the second poll question.
Okay.
Yeah, I
What
only see
about now?
one. There we go. Yes. All right. Poll question number 2. Which of the following is not a primary emotion? All right. Okay. People know stuff here. Okay.
And you all are able to just click what you think is the best answer for you.
All right. Absolutely. So which of the following is not a primary emotion? Resentment. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right. So we will do a couple of poll questions just to kind of get a sense of where people are. There, you know, even if you don't know the answer and you just guess, that's okay too. You're going to learn some of that information today. So thank you for that. And did we say that the chat would be closed? I want to make sure because I did want to ask folks a question. All right, so my question is, how many of us are already working as a cares? If you could just do your hand raise on the screen or in the front. Okay. All right. Let's see, how many of us? Okay. All right. Okay. Good, 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 good. So we have some folks. We have some folks who are, can we get some of you to raise your hand? How many are working in behavioral? Okay, so these are folks, okay. So the folks who are not working in behavioral health, this information is really good because when you get into the work, the thing that's important to know is that it is very difficult to manage your emotions when you're trying to help someone manage, understand their emotions. And because we are human beings, we just have all kinds of emotions. And so we're gonna define what emotional intelligence is, and just so you understand that emotional intelligence is defined as a set of competencies demonstrating the ability one has to recognize his or her behavior, mood, impulses, and to manage them best according to the situation. And this course will give you tools you need to be emotionally intelligent in the workplace and in your home. And so for those of us who are currently doing the work, this is just information that will help inform how you manage your emotions in the workplace, whether it's with the people you work with or in your workplace. So that is important to know. When you are coming into this work, I'm going to tell you right now, If you have not done the deep inner work required to stay well, you are going to have a hard time. So I'm going to respectfully challenge you to really think about what it means to be a certified peer specialist, a CARES. The manual has a lot of information that we learned in our training. And so it is a good idea to keep that manual handy to go back and reference when you have challenges in the work. But your emotions are your responsibility. I'm gonna say it again. Your emotions are your responsibility. And what I've learned is that I allowed people to dictate my emotions. And it got me in a lot of trouble. What I found out is that about myself is that I operated from a place of an unhealed little girl. And that's the truth, right? I did step work, 12-step program, did a lot of deep work around my addiction. I did some stuff in treatment, but that deep inner work required to stay well starts with you. It starts directly with you. And so one of the things that's so important to know is that sometimes you got to sit with yourself and ask yourself some really hard questions. Really hard questions. So one of the things that got me to the place of really wanting to understand emotional intelligence was in the beginning of working as a certified peer specialist. I had a coworker who I adore to this day right now, who we were working in the same office. And one of the things that I like to quote by Brene Brown is hustling for your worth. Hustling for your worth. That means that if I'm operating from a space of a little girl and I haven't done enough deep inner work required to stay well, that people can really activate some of those negative emotions in me that I didn't know how to manage well. So we all have negative emotions. My emotions drove my actions and got me in a lot of trouble as an adult, even as a child, as a teenager. Right. But in the work, in that first job that I had, I found myself literally in tears every time I got reprimanded or told I didn't do something well in my job. I would find myself not wanting to go to work and being very depressed and not really feeling confident about my work. Now, I did a lot of things well. My hard skill level was on point. We'll learn what that is shortly. But what I will say is that my emotions were all over the place. And so I allowed people to dictate how I felt. And in that job, hustling for our worth, for me, meant that I wanted people to see me. And I wanted them to see that I was a good person and I could do really good work, right? And so we were butting heads. We were butting heads, because I can speak for me. I was hustling for my worth, but it felt like both of us were. And I had to learn how to not do the things that I used to do, right? And so what I used to do in active addiction was if you said something or did something to me, I was gonna cuss you out. That was my go-to way to handle things. And it didn't serve me well. And I became known as this person who cussed people out. And so my reputation was not good because of that. And what happened is simply, I didn't get honest with what I was feeling. So when I started doing the deep inner work required to stay well, one of the things I had to do was ask myself the question and really be honest. Why do I feel this way? Why do I feel this way? And here's the truth. I have a GED. I don't have a degree. I don't have a lot of letters behind my name. And I didn't really feel secure in my job, right? I felt less than. And the person that I was working with had a degree. She had letters behind her name. She was very well educated. And I felt really small and insecure, right? And so eventually we ended up having a conversation, long story short, and she affirmed that I was a great person and I did really great work and that I didn't need to feel that way. But I had to figure out how to do that. She could tell me all day, but I had to figure out how to do it. So today we'll talk about some things that will help us kind of figure out or find language to use or skills that we can learn to help us manage our emotions. Okay.
TaTa-Nisha, let me say something right here.
Sure.
There are two people who do not have their names on their windows. SUH7, and there's someone whose phone number is in here. So if y'all could give me that information, I can put your name in. We'll make sure you get credit for the webinar. Sorry to interrupt, TaTa-Nisha. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you so much. I can't, it's really hard to see the screen and, oh, here's the chat. Okay, here we go. All right. Someone said, glad the question was asked, the QR code works, but I'm not able to submit the request for my consult. Okay, we'll talk about that later. The email address will be in the chat. And I did test that, so it was working earlier, but that's okay. Does working in rehab count? Not really sure what you mean by that question. If you can elaborate a little bit more.
I suspect she means, does that mean that she's working as a CARES?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Someone said, hello, my name is linked to my cell. Will you please change it to, you see that?
I will find that. Thank you.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. All right. So I have to remember to look at the chat. So professional development, soft skills training is what I do. I'm also a certified peer specialist in the community. But let's talk about hard skills. Hard skills are job-related competencies and abilities that are necessary to complete work. So if you type 45 words a minute, that is a hard skill. If you can build a house, that is a hard skill. If you can lay bricks, that is a hard skill. If you know PowerPoint and Excel and all of the computer things that you learn, you go and you learn a skill to use for your work, those are hard skills. Can you all name some hard skills that you possess currently right now and put it in the chat for me? Name some of your specific hard skills. What is it that you were trained to do besides a certified peer specialist? Let's see, what do we have? Where's my chat? Okay. Okay. Motivation, interviewing and teaching. Okay. All right. Medical transcriptionist, documentation. Yes, yes. Accounting, absolutely. DJ, video editing. Hey, I need you. Hey. Intakes and transport. All right. Medication instructor. Absolutely. How to use the computer. Property manager. Hey, property manager. Documentation. Yes, yes. Retired electrician, video editor, massage. Yes, yes, yes. Phlebotomist, wellness coach. All right. Billing and coding. Marketing plans. Yes. Okay. Early childhood education. Very good. Okay. Thank you so much for that. All right. So as you can see, we have a large spectrum of hard skills. If you don't know what your hard skills are, you can most certainly do some research to find out what your hard skills are. All of the information that I'm sharing with you is information that you can find anywhere on the internet. So just know that. This particular training module comes with a lot of different things to enhance the work that you do. So if you are a supervisor, if you are over a program and you feel like your staff or the people that you serve could benefit from some soft skills development, please make sure you put your information in the chat and I'll reach out to you. And you can also go to my website. And my website email is listed there as well. All right, so soft skills are personal qualities and traits that impact how you work. Personal qualities and traits. Can you all name some personal qualities that you have? Compassion, yes, yes. Kindness, Mm-hmm. Empathy, yes. Mm-hmm. On a good day. I know that's right. I understand that. Encouraging, listening, yes. And do these things impact your work? Yes. Welcoming. Yes. Cultural diversity, empathy, compassion, organized. Yes. Love it, love it, love it. Encourager. Yes, we all need that. Colorful personality. Love it, love it, love it. Yes, ma'am. Good communication skills. Yes, honesty. Hey, Reggie. Mr. Smith in the house. Honesty, open-minded, and willingness. Yes, thank you. Detail-minded. I love it. I love it. Good, 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 good. So these are all really great qualities, personal qualities to have. And I'm sure you have many, many more. We all do. So I want you to do some work there. Just check in with your personal qualities. Ask people what qualities that they see. Ask them what they see, and you do your own assessment of whether or not you believe that's true. When obstacles arise, you change your direction to reach the do not change your goal. Your destiny. Oh Lord, I just messed that whole quote up. Okay, never mind that. When awareness is brought to you to an emotion, power is brought to your life. When awareness is brought to an emotion, power is brought to your life. So if you know how to manage your emotions, you have power. All right, so let's move on to the next thing. Now that we've talked about hard and soft skills, now you get a sense of what that is. You could do some more work. We know that hard skills are measurable. When your supervisor assesses your role, they can measure what kind of work you do. When it's taking notes, I know currently one of the challenges that a lot of people face is doing documentation. And if you haven't been trained in documentation and you just kind of get thrown into it, you know, it's hard to measure something that you haven't really learned well. So hard skills are measurable, they're easily defined. So you know, when you look at the objective that you put on your resume, the job that you're applying for is easily defined. They tell you all the things you need to know, what hard skills you need to have for that job. And hard skills are specific. They're very specific, like bookkeeping, analytics, inventory control. And soft skills are hard to measure, right? They're difficult to define, and they are universal. So like a lot of the things that you named, you know, creativity, collaboration, and being adaptable are very important skills, very important soft skills, but there are plenty of soft skills, and we'll talk about some of those things today. All right. So now I have all of these things in front of my screen. Okay, there we go. We have some folks waiting in the waiting room as well. So emotions play a big role in our lives. They help guide our decisions for the world around us and influence our interactions with others. So if you've ever been mad on the job, people can tell. People know when you're angry, they know when you don't want to be there. They can tell just by your body language, your facial expressions. So if you're affected by your emotions, there are things that you can do to manage that so that it doesn't show on your face, which is what I was told quite a bit. The ability to control one's emotions and use them in a healthy manner can be life-changing, right? And so because I've been able to do things in a healthy way, I've been able to really change my life. And so when I get mad, my first go-to is not to cuss people out anymore. You know, people, what is this quote here that I can't see? It looks like Maya. Let me see if I can move this.
You want me to read it for you? I think I can see it.
Thank you.
People may not remember what you said, but they remember the way you made them feel.
Yes. And body language does affect how other people are affected by your body language. So emotional intelligence is not just about how you manage your emotions, but it's also how you interact with other people and how it affects them. So the ability to control one's emotions and use them in a healthy way, just know it's life-changing. And once I really got an understanding of that, man, my life has been so much better. Do I still struggle? Yes. Will you still struggle? Yes. But can you learn to manage them and practice them? Yes. So I just want to encourage you, if you are struggling in your emotional intelligence, you will now have some information to help you manage that, and you can most certainly do more research, but it does start with you. So it looks like I'm going to be doing some shifting here. All right. So emotional intelligence, like the question I asked earlier in the poll, is recognizing and understanding and managing our emotions. That's a lot of work. You got to recognize, understand, and manage. You got to recognize and understand that you influence the emotions of others as well. So we affect our emotions affect every part of our lives. And so I want to ask a question, and you guys can answer it in the chat. Do you have a hard time recognizing when you are struggling with your emotions? Do you have a hard time really catching it? Okay, all right. Sometimes, okay, all right, yes. Good, yes. When I'm tired, yes, the way we feel affects everything. Okay, sometimes, okay. Are you aware of when other people are affected by your emotions? Okay, okay, yes, yes, okay. Sometimes, yes. Sometimes it's a really good answer just because we're human and we don't always get it right. Not at work, but sure with family. I know that's right. Usually, okay, not always, yes. Congratulations on being a human being. All right, we're doing good. We're doing really good. So if you can recognize, that's great. If you don't understand, you can find understanding. If you can't manage, you can learn how to. So I just want you to be encouraged. We don't always get it right. I can tell you with my kids, I'm better now than I used to be, but that was the hardest place. That was the hardest place to really manage my own emotions. All right. Let's go to the next slide. So the importance of it. So let's talk about the importance of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence encourages us to step away from autopilot mode and become better at navigating through many social complexities of life. Can anybody identify with operating on autopilot? Yes. That means that as soon as something happens to me emotionally, I just react. Right? Autopilot is a dangerous place to be, especially when you don't have a lot of practice with managing your emotions. So one of the things I want to encourage you to do is just be aware of when you're on autopilot. You can catch it. You may not always be able to follow it all the way through, but if you begin to recognize when you are operating in autopilot, you have an opportunity to fix it. But you also have to make a choice that, do I want to continue to operate in autopilot? So for me, and share this with me about what autopilot looks like for you. Because I know for me, autopilot means that I don't think. You're going to get what I give you as soon as I feel it. Or I might be passive aggressive and I may not say anything, which is not emotionally intelligent. Right? Immediate relax. Knee-jerk reaction. Absolutely. Absolutely. Non-responsive. Shut down. Oh, this is good.
TaTa-Nisha, I'm going to tell you that some people are sending messages directly to me rather than to everyone.
Okay.
Check and see who you're sending messages to and make sure it says everyone.
Pray. Oh, that's a good one. Disassociate. Yeah. Hiding real emotions. Those are all things that are really difficult, and they make you sick. So as you notice in your body when something is off, and if your reaction is unhealthy for you, then over time, if you continue to operate in autopilot, it just makes you sick. Especially if my husband, I know that's right. Oh, child. Yes. Isolate. Oh, yeah. It's like a warning signal. Yeah, autopilot is not the best place to be. So what I would like to respectfully challenge you to do is to check in with that. What happens when you go into autopilot? And just in the smallest things, someone says something to you that you don't like, check what actually happens to you first. All right. So let's move on. So who needs it? Humans are wired for connection. These connections consist of social interactions full of emotions. Essentially, identifying and building emotional intelligence is important to everyone. So even our kids need to learn emotional intelligence. Well, we can't teach our kids emotional intelligence if we don't have it, right? But it is for everyone. So this opportunity to really just kind of learn a little bit about it is just the beginning of you starting to learn how to build that skill for yourself. So I'm excited to share some information with y'all. All right, so let's talk about, sorry about that. Let's see what happened. Oh, there's the other chat. So what's happening is that I'm having, because I'm the co-host, I have a lot of other stuff popping up on my screen. So I can't see everybody, but that's okay. So the components of emotional intelligence. To better develop emotional intelligence, it's important to begin by enhancing the key aspects of emotional intelligence. So we're going to talk about those key aspects, and the components relate to the day-to-day lives of everyone. So this information you can share with the people you work with, you can share with your family, you can share with your kids, your coworkers. This is information that is accessible to anyone. Self-management. How well do we manage ourselves? Are we good at accepting accountability? Do we stick to our goals and values? Do we continue learning? Are we always in a constant space of learning? Do we care for our mind and our body? So if you can identify with one of these, which one would it be in terms of how you manage yourself? And I would love to hear a story from someone about how they either accept accountability, stick to their goals and values, continue learning, or care for the mind and body. So if we can get a raised hand, and if we can get someone to share for just a few minutes.
There's Stephanie Primrose, her hand is raised.
All right, Stephanie.
Hi, I have the accept accountability part.
Okay.
Because because I work with a lot of young ladies that are in addiction, sometimes I can react too passionately or am too harsh. And I always have to find myself to stop and what part did I play in that? Or if the interaction went left, I have to accept my part in how it went left because I act strongly off of emotion. I haven't learned to manage it yet, but yeah, I have to accept accountability because I do react strongly off emotion.
Okay, all right. Good, and that's self-awareness. So to be self-aware means to know that about yourself. And I'm also one of those people that I can accept accountability for anything. I'm really good at accepting accountability, but it's the change behavior that's really important at the end of the day. And so I'm always good at saying, you know what, I did do that. I'm good at that. But if my behavior doesn't change, am I really managing myself well? Can I hear another story from someone about sticking to their goals and values?
We have another hand up, TaTa-Nisha. It is Aisha Northington.
Go
Aisha.
ahead. Hey, Aisha.
Hey girl, hey.
Hey, girl, hey.
So did you want a specific one? Because I wanted to do accountability and care for mind and body. Or you want me to do a different one?
Just do one. You can pick either one.
Okay. So I think I do really good or do really well at accepting accountability because like one of the things that you said, we are human, you know. That was hard for me to do years ago. I didn't, before recovery, let me say AD, before recovery, it was hard for me to accept accountability for things. And I think maybe one of the reasons for that was because I guess I wanted to try to find a reason for my behavior and the things that I was doing. But as I got in recovery and I really wanted to be responsible and take accountability for myself and my actions. And so it's not always an easy thing, but I think that accepting accountability is something that's very important to me. So I take that pretty seriously.
Right. And a lot of us who, and I'm not speaking for you, Aisha, I'm just saying for a lot of us who have a 12-step background, that's a lot of the work, that deep inner work that's required to stay well for us. It's not everybody's pathway. So I just want to be clear that that is something that a lot of us 12-steppers are very familiar with, but accepting accountability definitely makes life better for you because now you're not in the blame game. You're looking at the whole scenario and you're looking at the part you play. So thank you for that, Aisha. One or two more people pick one of these and share a little quick story.
Anyone want to raise their hand?
And if not, we can keep moving. It's okay.
Joe Larson is waving at the screen.
Come on, Joe. Come on in.
And Joe, can you unmute?
You hear me now?
Yes.
Sir.
There you go. How y'all doing?
Good.
Well, I've been in recovery in and out all my life. I had to learn a lot of hard lessons, and everything you got listed right there, those were real hard lessons. But today, when I'm wrong, I'll be the first one to admit it. I try my best to stick to my principles and achieve my goals and teach my values. And I'm constantly learning. I'm not only learning from things like this, I'm also learning from my peers. I work in a day treatment program for alcoholic and drug addicts or SUDs. And I'm there 8 hours a day, and it can be stressful.
Yes, thank you.
But I have to be very careful. And I also have to be very careful of what I say and do.
Yes.
Because what I say or do could be, have a lot of negative input with the people I work with.
Thank you so much. I don't want to cut you off, but I have to.
That's okay. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay, good. Thank you so much for that. Let's do one more because self-management is important. Because accepting accountability, I'm telling you, is freedom. It's freedom because you get to walk away saying, okay, I know what I've done and now I know what I can do to work on it, or I can figure out. Let's see.
Loretta Billingsley had her hand up. Hey, Loretta.
Come on, Loretta.
Hi, everybody. Care for the mind and body. For the longest time, I kind of stay up in my head about addiction and recovery and those paths. And I'm a smart recovery facilitator person. And I would always speak the speak, but I wouldn't walk the talk on that care for mind and body until I decided, sorry for the puppies, until I decided that my body was just as important as my mind. And so when I made that choice to not only do top down, but do bottom up and get my body involved, I lost 80 pounds. And now the entire clarity of both mind and body is in sync. So it's clarity, top down, bottom up. And it's really wonderful. It's been an amazing, wonderful journey in recovery. It really has.
Absolutely. Yes, that carry mind, I'm telling you, it's a game changer, just simply because you can start to move things out of your body that are sitting there. Because when we're working with folks, we're taking in a lot of their information on top of the information we already have, right? And so if you could find ways to get out and do things so that you can get things out of your body. Everyone knows I'm an avid bike rider. I'm an avid camper, and I love walking on the trails at the state parks here in the state of Georgia. So I would strongly suggest that you find a state park near you and get on the trail. But just know that this is one of those areas where it really does help you manage your emotions, because you have a place to really get that stuff out and really think and process. Self-awareness. This is big. I could spend all day just on this one, right? And I won't get on a soapbox. I did write in my notes I could do one soapbox moment, but I want to keep moving. Self-awareness, being able to build a growth mindset, identifying our triggers, reflecting on our behavior, and asking yourself questions. Remember early on, I talked about how I was really challenged in my workspace with one of my coworkers, and I was so frustrated. And it wasn't anything that she was doing wrong to me. It was my own internal little girl that was responding to her. And I had to ask myself, why are you allowing this situation to affect your emotions? And then I had to sit quiet and be still and really reflect on that and ask myself the question and honestly answer it. If you can't be honest with yourself, it's going to be hard to be self-aware. And self-awareness does mean that people can tell you about your behavior. And it's a good idea to pay attention, reflect on those behaviors that people are giving you feedback on. And self-awareness, like I said, there's so much in self-awareness, but one of my biggest pet peeves is, being in a room full of people and not being aware that when what you are doing is affecting other people. So one of the things I like to do is scan the room. I can't do it on Zoom right now, but scanning the room when I have the floor to make sure that I'm not over talking, I'm not raising my hand 500 times to say something when there are 50 other people in the room, being very aware of other people's emotions and what they might be experiencing because of me. Because remember, what I do affects me, but it also affects other people. It also affects other people. So you can be doing harm to yourself and other people all at the same time. So being self-aware is important. So what does building a growth mindset look like? We don't want to get into toxic positivity, but building a growth mindset does mean being positive and being intentional about what you want to be thinking and how you want to be feeling. Can anyone share about self-awareness? Do you struggle with self-awareness? Do you feel like you're pretty good at it? Or pick one of these bullet points to share really quickly, something that you want to share about it.
So Cassandra Lee had her hand up last time. Cassandra, did you want to chime in on this one?
Sure.
Cassandra, hello.
Hey, so good to see everybody. Developing a growth mindset. When I got myself into recovery and I finished my steps, I found myself still stuck in kind of a victim mentality. As somebody that experienced a lot of intergenerational trauma and trauma in my childhood, I had to change my thinking and stop sitting on the pity pot and really just understand that I may have been a victim in the past, but I was also a survivor, and that I also grow and change and recover and heal. And so that has been absolute necessary as I move forward in my recovery. So thank you.
Oh, absolutely. I'm really proud of you, Cassandra. I see you doing your work. I'm really, really proud of you, and keep doing it. Keep building that growth mindset. One more.
Orlandria Harden.
Hi, for me, asking myself, I ask myself questions and I choose and I build growth on mindset. And an example would be, I no longer see things as criticism. I choose to see it as feedback. And I ask myself, what is it about this situation or what was said to me that can help me grow and improve and become better in what areas? Because initially I used to see everything as criticism. They're saying something is wrong with me and I'm trying to find out the negative things in it. So I accepted it. If I accept it as feedback, it encourages me and lets me know that they're trying to provide me with information to help change for me to grow in the area and become stronger.
Good. That's really good. That's really good. Keep doing that. That is going to help you really evolve in your self-awareness and continue to be self-aware. So very good. All right. Thank you all for all this really great feedback. Hopefully other folks are hearing things that could help them as well. But self-awareness is very important. Just know that you can always be working on this. This is not something that you have to sit in a class one time and work on, that you could actually do this work all the time. This is work. As a matter of fact, you really don't have a choice. If you want to be self-aware, if you want to be emotionally intelligent, you're going to have to do some work on a consistent basis. All right, social skills. Social skills and awareness are aimed to help manage emotional connections with people. The best way to strengthen social skills and create healthy connection is through emotional intelligence. So when we think about emotional connections, you think about the work that we do, right? And we are trying to create connections with people that we serve. And as a carers, when we're dealing with people in treatment programs, we're dealing with people who are really struggling to find ways to connect people because they haven't really done well in it. They don't have really good social connections. They're looking to you for that. So developing this skill is so important, and how you manage your emotional connections is super important. So when I'm spending time with people, I am very intentional about what is going on around me. I'm very aware of how a person is responding to the things that I may be saying or my body language. I'm paying attention to what they're saying and how their body language is. That is how you create connection, is to really see people. I know I like to be seen. That's why I got on red today. Can y'all see me? I want to create a connection with you. And, you know, as I look at your faces now that I can see them a little better, the idea is that I am aware of what is happening on the screen. I may not be able to do it all the time during this webinar, but is that I'm creating the connection because I want to be able to share information with you, and I'm hoping that you will be able to hear me and to get something from what you are hearing. All right, let's talk about internal motivation. And this is really good because this is work we have to do with the people we serve, but we also have to do it with ourselves. So celebrate personal results. How many times do we do something really good and we still critique it and make it negative? How do we focus on small, achievable goals? How are we being accountable? And how do we introduce new challenges, right? So that internal motivation, that personal self-talk is kind of how I like to say it, in terms of like the things that I say to myself, the goals that I set for myself, how I'm very focused on them, how I'm accountable to that. Can I get someone to share a little bit about their own internal motivations? Can't see the screen, so.
There's a hand. It's Melissa Chris.
Hi, Miss Chris.
Melissa, we need to unmute you. There you go.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
You can.
I'm sitting here because I'm just relating to all of this, and this internal motivation. when you just said how many times do you celebrate personal results and turn into a negative? Oh my God, that is just so mean. I don't know how to celebrate things when, and my supervisor tells me that all the time, that I have to learn how to appreciate the good things that I do and bring to, I work at a methadone clinic. And it's hard sometimes. And then I'm the only person that's in recovery there. And when you hear the backlash and the stigmatizing of the peers that come through there from your coworkers, and it's like being a loner, being in a place that you're a loner.
Well, what I'd like to say to that is, I would like to respectfully challenge you to celebrate your personal results and leave the other stuff out of it. Just celebrate that, whatever that one good thing is that you have done, allow yourself the opportunity to celebrate that. And give yourself some credit.
And the young lady said about the coming from a place of trauma. I tend to think with the 19 years clean I have that I've accepted a lot of things, but you said that you used to work from a childhood.
Yeah.
Even when with 19 years clean, I find that I'm still at that place, even with 19 years clean. I'm still at that place. I lost my parents when I was young. My mom died at 14 and my dad died at 17, and being molested in the household with my grandmother. And I still, yeah,
it's okay. It's okay. Listen. This is important to know. These are things that you can learn. You can start right here today with this information, and then you can start to do your own research, and then you can find folks who are doing that work. You can most certainly come to other workshops, but that all of those things that you listed are things that you always have to be working on. It doesn't matter how much time you have in recovery. What I will say is that you can start at any time. So I want to just acknowledge and tell you that for all the things that you've been through, you are more than enough, and you can celebrate your personal results, and that your trauma does not have to affect your entire life. So thank you for sharing that, and thank you for being here today for your own recovery. And you can begin to do the deep inner work required to stay well. And it starts today for you. So congratulations. All right, so let's go. Pushing the wrong buttons. Let's talk about the components of emotional intelligence. Wait a minute, did I miss my slides? Okay, let's talk about empathy. Now, one of the things about empathy is that, we come to this work with a lot of empathy. Being empathetic awareness is a big aspect of emotional intelligence. It helps us to create awareness and sensitivity to those around us. So empathy will help drive connection. And so we all know a little bit about empathy and how important it is to this work. We come with that because we have that lived experience. And so this is one of those areas that we are very familiar with. We won't spend a lot of time there, but just know that it is important to have that emotion. And you can have empathy, not just for people with lived experience with mental health challenges or substance use disorder. You can have empathy for people in a whole other way, in other areas of their lives, in challenges that they may have. Excuse me. We know about journaling, right? How many times have we heard, if you write it, it can manifest itself. If you write it, it can come out of you. You get that out of you, right? Emotionally intelligent individuals will use journaling as a healthy way to be introspective to decisions and behaviors. And why I say this is super important is because when I go back and look at journals of things that I wrote 10 years ago and 15 years ago, I can actually see the wins in my life and where I've improved. And I can celebrate that. just looking at something that I wrote 2 years ago, and I've accomplished those things on my list because I set an intention to do that. And writing it out allowed me to say all the things that I needed to say to get to the place that I am today. So if journaling is something that you don't do, I would highly recommend it. Just start. It doesn't have to be an everyday thing. I beat myself up because I felt like I needed to be writing every day. And so what I say to you is write when you want to. And when you need to, it'll be easier. So journaling is very important, and you get to really see the progress that you made. And then you get to really get some of that hurt and that pain and that stress and all the things that are coming up in you out of you. So the idea is that we want to get that stuff out. We don't want it to sit in our bodies, right? We all know about meditation and mindfulness. One of the things that helped me in my recovery was that I had to learn the difference between meditation and prayer, because I wasn't, when I came to the program, when I got into my 12-step process, I did not come with a God of my understanding. I didn't have a relationship. I didn't practice anything. The only thing I did well was drink every day. That was what I did well, and smoke cigarettes. I was good at that. I could almost put that on the list of a hard skill because I was so good at it. But you know, the mindfulness and meditation is about disconnecting from the negative thoughts. So if you didn't know that meditation and mindfulness could help you disconnect from the negative thoughts, here you go. Helps to stay calm and balanced. Dissolves emotional baggage. So we carry around stuff. You can dissolve that with meditation and mindfulness. The emotional baggage that we carry around is affecting everything. Every single thing we're going through. That baggage is affecting us, but we can manage that. We can self-manage that emotional baggage, but the idea is to get that stuff out. And you can get it out through journaling, you can get it out through exercise, you can get it out through therapy, you can get it out through dancing. Can you all name some practices that you use for mindfulness and meditation? Put it in the chat. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. Body scanning. Yes, yes. I want to hear from Loretta about body scanning. Be really brief for me in a minute, okay? Hiking. Yes. Music. Singing. Oh, we got a singer. I might ask you, might have to sing us a song and help us. Okay. Exercising in the gym. Waterfall chasing. Ooh, I want to know more about that. Yes. Stepping. I would love to step. Devotion, absolutely. Deep breathing, my favorite one. It scares my kids sometimes because I do it so forcefully when I'm really struggling. Working out, hiking, sketching. All right, so if you don't have a mindfulness or meditative thing that you can do, there's all kinds of suggestions in the chat for things that you can do. Yes, morning devotion, bath, yes, candles, yoga, bird watching. Love it. That's very serene. I've done that, and that is a very serene thing to do. Thank you. Sauna. Yes. Yes, I love the sauna. I do the infrared sauna, and it is awesome. Just go in there, sweat it out. Mindfulness meditation with all 5 of my senses. Yes. Absolutely. All right. So can I get I saw someone who talked about, I want to hear more about that, but really brief. Was it scanning? Yes, scanning. Who's the person that talked about scanning?
That was me.
Okay, let's hear it.
Body scanning is a great grounding tool, and it's a mindful practice as opposed to meditation. It's a quick kind of mindfulness practice that you could start with your feet and feel your feet, and then gradually just go up your body, feeling your calves, feeling your knees, feeling your thighs, feeling your stomach, feeling your chest, feeling your arms, feeling your face, feeling the top of your head. So it's a very great grounding technique, and it's a great technique to kind of calm the body.
Okay.
And it's a lot of people use it for pain management as well. But tons of free YouTube information on body scan. They can run from 10 minutes to 20 minutes. And they're very, very grounding. I love them. They're great.
All right. Thank you for that. Thank you. One other person. Who do we have? Oh, I love binaural beats. Absolutely. Progressive muscle relaxation. Say more.
That's Cassandra Lee.
Cassandra, can you tell me something real brief about progressive muscle relaxation?
Yeah, it's similar to scanning in a way, but you go through each body part piece by piece. You start with deep breathing, and each muscle group in your body, you will tense up and hold it and then release it with your breath. And one of the things it allowed me to do was learn when I was holding keeping the tension and the stress in my muscles and holding it in my body. It has allowed me to learn and become more self-aware through that process of practicing it regularly. And there's lots of guided meditations of them on YouTube as well.
Okay, so if anyone is having any challenges with trying to figure out what they can do, the list in the chat is massive. If you see something you've never tried before, go try it. I know I'm gonna try the body scanning and learning more about that. And because you can go to YouTube, that's free resources. We can share with the members we work with, the folks we work with, and with ourselves. And this is a hard thing to be consistent with for some people, and that's okay. Just do it when you can and give yourself credit for the time that you do it. Not necessarily, oh, I can't do it every day, or don't do that. Just do what you can. All right, I'm challenged. Okay, identifying emotional triggers. This is super important. And I'll tell a story because one of the things that I did not know is that when I'm operating on autopilot, listen, any of my triggers can be activated and I lose control. So identifying my emotional triggers, I like to say activate my emotional triggers. Now I understand, I can identify them, I can visualize them, and I can choose a different way to go, right? When things come up, we are responsible, and I'll keep saying this. Every time my stomach, because where my stress goes, where my anger and frustration goes, is to my stomach. And I've created some nice little visceral fat pockets right in my midsection. As a result of all of my stress sitting in my stomach. It's not just the standard American diet that causes us to carry that weight there, but it's also our emotions and our stress. So just be in a space of being able to identify those triggers, write them down, talk to somebody about them, and being aware of them means that you can actually begin to do something different. So, and when it says identify it, just understanding what it is. For me, visualizing is, I have to visualize what's the worst thing that can happen that I could do. I actually have to visualize, if I cuss that girl out, what is that gonna look like? Yes, I have to visualize what the outcome will be. And then I have to take an opportunity to choose an alternative. Because even with all of the deep inner work I've done, I still think about the things that I did before I learned this new information. And I still can act on those same behaviors that are lying right beneath the surface. So I could be doing really well, but if I'm not eating right and I'm not drinking enough water, if I don't get out and walk, if I'm not connecting with my group of people who support me, then I can get off the beam. If I'm not connected to the God of my understanding, those things, if I'm not connected to those things, I can be triggered really easily. So being able to choose an alternative means you need to pause. You can't operate on autopilot and make a choice. Like you got to pause to make a choice because you got to think that thing through. So identifying triggers is super important. I just want to say that. Taking a break. This was a big thing for me when I tell the story about the job that I had. It was a lot of times I had to get up and walk out of the building. Like literally leave the building. Now, I was in a good position to do that in my job, and that is not always the case for everyone. But you can do things like turn off your phone, go to the bathroom. I had to literally take walks because I was tears, anger, frustration. All the things were coming up. And, you know, when emotions from the demands of life become overwhelming, it's really just a good idea to take a break. And because you are in control of your person and your body, you have the ability and the authority to do that. Now, there are some places where you can't just walk out the building. If you are responsible for other people, you can't just walk out the building, but you can create space for yourself in your workplace where you can just step away, or you can ask for help or ask someone to give you a moment so you can take a break. But you do have the power to do that. Let's talk about verbal communication skills. I want to make sure I get through everything before the end. So let's talk about verbal communication skills. We know that emotions play a major role in the way we communicate with one another. By improving our emotional intelligence, we can become better at leveraging our emotions to create better personal and professional communications. So it's important to really check in with your emotions because they do affect your behavior. How you communicate, we all know that we can get a little salty with people, and sometimes what comes out of our mouth is based on how we're feeling because we didn't pause. So I want to encourage you to always think about your verbal communication and how you communicate with others. Active listening. We all have learned a little bit about active listening, but it's really hard to actively listen when you have a lot of distractions around you. But the best way to really do well with active listening is to remove as many distractions as you can. Nodding occasionally and smiling to let a person know that you are paying attention, that you are listening to them, and paraphrasing the speaker's message. I will be honest and transparent. I really struggled with, so what I heard you say is, I didn't want to do that because in treatment, that's all I heard and it made me mad. So I didn't want to repeat that. And so it took me a while to get to the place of being willing. I had to be willing to shift and change and think about repeating back what I heard someone say and providing feedback. Asking questions. My supervisor will ask 50,000 questions. It drives me crazy. But asking questions is the key to enhancing interactions and becoming a better communicator. And because she asks questions, she gets clarity and understanding. So questions are used to create engaging conversations. And we do end up having some really good conversations because of all of her questions. I just don't like it. Just don't like it. But the reality is I get a lot of information when I start talking and share insights and knowledge with one another. So we get to do that back and forth. Does anyone have any challenges with asking questions? Just put it in the chat. All right, consider your audience. We know about this. We can better prepare for a conversation and make adjustments to the way the message is being presented with regards to our language, our behavior, and our tone. And so there are certain places that I can't go, and I can't, I'm just gonna be real 100. I don't code switch. What you see is what you get. But my language and my behavior and my tone is important in any interaction that I have. So I will show up as authentically as I am. I will pay attention to the language of others. I will make adjustments to my language when needed. If someone is angry, I lower my voice. I ask them for feedback. I do things to try to diffuse a situation, but all of these things they affect the people that you are talking to or interacting with. Choosing your words. You remember when we were little kids and we were in daycare and they would say, use your words. And I'm gonna say, choose your words. A key aspect of increasing emotional intelligence is to be mindful of the words and the responses we use. Be authentic. Now this is not easy for everyone because it took us a long time to even figure out who we were. And then once we figured out who we were, we had to figure out how we can go into certain spaces and be that person. And sometimes we're not always received well in places, but it's better to be authentic. At least you know you're being who you are 100%. So when I show up authentically. And that sometimes that means I don't talk the way people think I should talk. And that's okay because my audience understands. Because I know who I'm talking to. I'm very aware of who I'm talking to. So being authentic and honest in your communication will make or break a connection. And sometimes my authenticity may be a problem for people. And that's okay. It involves the sharing of real information and the elimination of assumptions. So be authentic. Find spaces where you can be authentic. I try to do that at home and in my personal relationships, and that carries out into the world. So nonverbal communication plays a big role in emotional intelligence. The signal shared through nonverbal communication can enhance a sense of trust, interest, empathy between individuals. We know all about body language. Closed is negative, open is positive. So just be aware of your body language when you are interacting with people, family, friends, and in your work environment. We talked about tone. Your tone matters. And every tone doesn't work in every space. So find ways to just be really self-aware and find out where that is. The emotions that are tied to our words can affect the meaning and the message. So paying attention to our pace and our pitch and the timing is important. So as you'll see, my tone is about to change because my timing is getting really small. So here we go. Facial expressions. Be aware of your facial expressions. There is a lot of work that can be done here, and people will tell you. So just being willing to take a look at it, get in the mirror and really do some work. Like it takes mirror work for facial expressions, if you didn't know. Eye contact. So to be culturally responsible, there are not always places where eye contact is good. So just be aware, be culturally appropriate to understand your environment, to know where good eye contact is important. But maintaining eye contact in your conversations is important. And it's important in the engagement. Personal space. I don't have to say much about that. Everybody knows. You know when it's violated and you know what you need to do to get your personal space together. Managing relationships with others. This is important because it takes time to learn how to do it. So just know that these connections that we form matter. And that you can create these people skills to create that sense of belonging. Building rapport takes time. Look for opportunities to connect and compare your goals. This is the big one. This was a big lesson in my first job. React, respond, don't react. That's a lot. It takes a lot of work there. So it's a powerful skill. If you're emotionally intelligent, you have the ability to do it. Sometimes you do it well, sometimes you don't. But do some research on responding and reacting if you struggle in that area. Show gratitude. I live there. That is where I live. My house is my gratitude is my house. Finding common ground. Be curious, stay focused on the big picture, and embrace the small talk. I'm not good at embracing small talk, so I have to be really intentional. setting boundaries. If we're setting boundaries, it protects our values, it protects our time and our energy. So if you don't know how to set boundaries, it is something that would be helpful to your time and your energy. Overcoming obstacles. Conflict with in the workplace is inevitable, but it is not impossible. Just know that it is not impossible. Recognizing and admitting failure. We talked about this earlier. If you can do this, it will definitely help you in your growth and your professional development. Disagreeing constructively is, it takes a lot of work. You have to ask questions, you have to provide evidence and use I statements. Staying cool under pressure. This is kind of the spectrum of the kind of work we deal with. And so when you can stay cool under, I have moments where I spaz out because it's so much. And then I have moments where I'm really cool and it's a lot going on, but I can see it and work through it. So just know that staying cool under pressure is really difficult to do, but it can be done. It's a skill that you can learn. Be open to perspectives. And the power of forgiveness, man, that's a game changer. It helps us free our minds from emotional constraints or negative emotions that can that can damage relationships. So finding a way to forgive is another level of freedom. Strong interpersonal relationships. Every job application, resume, posting says strong interpersonal relationships. It's the ability to communicate ideas to others, as well as listen and value the ideas of others, not dismiss them, but value them. And that is something that when you value other people's relationships, it helps you in your working relationship. Being able to manage change. Reduce stress and anxiety. So these are all things that emotional intelligence is about. It really is about being able to reduce the stress and anxiety and manage it. Improve decision-making. Requires strong emotional control. And as a result of the time, I'm going to say creating a powerful first impression is about being prepared and being open and understanding, and most certainly being self-aware. And I'm gonna stop here. Actually, I have one more here. So maintaining your composure. I'm sorry, I missed one of my slides, but that's okay. Maintaining your composure is an acquired skill that involves awareness and thought, rather than simply relying on how you feel. And so I just want to say to everyone that all of these things that we talked about today, that we discussed, that you learn new information, is information that is helpful to you maintaining your emotional intelligence. And I'd like to say that this opportunity today was just to bring some awareness to you. I would love for you to, let me put my email in the chat for everyone. And if you have questions, if you're interested in getting some professional development training at your organization, or if you'd like some professional development coaching, you can most certainly email me at tf@preventionwithintention.com. Can you type that in for me? TF?
Yeah, would you say that again?
tf@preventionwithintention.com.
I have it. I'll go ahead and plug that in there.
Sure. Thank
Cool.
you. Yes.
May I have your phone number, because I can't, I didn't get the email. Can I have your direct phone number? Can you drop it in the chat for me?
I will not, but I will most certainly give you a call. You're funny girl.
Thank you. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry.
Boundaries.
I was so
Those are
nervous
good
today.
boundaries.
You did good. You did real good. You did real good. It was great.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. I'm really glad that everybody came. And I'd like to just apologize that I didn't get a chance to get through all the slides, but again, you can go to my website, send an email to me, ask all the questions you want. I'll be doing more workshops in the community and at any organization that will have me. Are there any questions before we close out that we can do really quick in the chat?
Just a comment. Great job, TaTa-Nisha. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you. I can't see you. Whoever said that, thank you so much. Anybody else want to say anything before we close it out?
I'll just say that was really great content. That was Reggie Smith who said that earlier. And I'll just tell you, I second it because that was really great. And clearly you could teach us a lot in more time than an hour and a half. But I really appreciate your coming today.
Thank you so very much.
Yeah, that's the only thing. I wish it was a little bit longer.
Well, you know how the webinars are. I mean, we're lucky to be getting an hour and a half today.
True. That's true.
But these trainings, like I said, can be done in the community, and I can do full day and half day trainings. But yeah, it's like we just got to do more of it. And I'll continue to do this workshop. So if you see me on social media, just go ahead and click the link and join. Anybody else before we close out?
Great job. Enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, TaTa-Nisha.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone.
Great.
Thank you, TaTa-Nisha.
Yes, thank you. Enjoyed it.
Yes,
job.
thank you. Thank you for that. That was an awesome presentation. So everybody give her claps, snaps.
Oh, they did. They did.
Thank you.
What a way to start the year of training. Thank you.
Yes. So just a reminder, you all, we will have the certificates out hopefully within the next week or so. So be looking for them. And anyone that stayed the entirety, which was 90 minutes, will get a certificate. I know a couple of people were saying that they were having issues and had to log out, log back in, but we are able to see that. And Al, is there anything you wanted to say before we get off?
I will just say there was the few people who were admitted late. So I have a list of at what time we let those people in. And if any of you have any questions, you're welcome to email me at alvin@gasubstanceabuse.org. And make sure that you save this certificate so you can send it in with your CEUs next January. Because this is a great way to start the year. Like I said earlier, you can get all your CEUs completed by April or May if you just pay attention to the emails we send you.
Right.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great
Welcome to the team. Welcome to the team, Alvin, and thank you, Tia, for your work.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Tia. Thank you for everything.
See y'all soon. Y'all have a great night.
Thank you. Appreciate you all for all y'all do. Thank you.
Good night.